Hey guys, what's up? I've decided to share some stories of some things that I've been through in my life. And maybe I'll be able to help someone, and along the way, figure out who is the man in the mirror. In last week's video, I talked about the relationship I have with my father. So in this week's video, I'm going to talk about the relationship I have with my mother. So Mom, if you're watching this, I don't mean to offend you in any way, shape, or form, and if I do that, I'm sorry. But I'm just going to tell this as honest as I can remember. I do not intend to offend you. As I said in last week's video, I was born when my mom was 16 and my dad was 18. My mom was around a lot when I was younger. When my grandfather retired, he decided to move to Florida. I moved to Florida with my grandparents, my mother did not. My brother was already born at this point in time because he's 4 years younger than what I am. My mother stayed in Ohio, raised my brother, and then my sister was born, and she raised my brother and sister. She did move around a lot. She was around as much as what she could have been, and I feel like our relationship really suffered because of that. When I was younger, I was bothered by the fact that she was more involved with my brother and my sister than what she was with me. Which I'm not saying I had a bad life, because I certainly did not when I was younger. My grandparents did a better job than what I feel like my mom could have done with her situation. Our relationship kind of suffered, I think, because of this, and I don't know exactly what it is, and I can't take full responsibility, and I can't give full responsibility to her. All the way up to this point, we get along a lot better now than what we ever have, but we certainly don't have the relationship that I wish we did. So because of me living with my grandparents more or less were my parents. And my grandmother was more or less my mother. And my grandmother is the most important person in the world to me. I love her more than anything. She is one of the best people, if not the best person, that I know in this world. And I could not be more thankful to my mother for letting me go with my grandparents. I don't think she believes that I actually feel that way, but I do. My grandmother is an amazing person. Everyone that's ever met her absolutely loves her. There's only been one person ever that did not like my grandmother, and I'll talk about that person in a later video. As I said, with my mom not being around that much and primarily raising my brother and sister, our relationship did suffer because that when I would go to visit or when she would come to visit, it just wasn't there. It just wasn't right. I don't know exactly what it was, but I always felt like I was on the outside, if that makes sense. I always felt like I was on the outside because my brother and sister both had this relationship with her that I didn't have. So even when we were all together, I always felt like I was on the outside of things because my brother and sister share the same father with the same mother. We share the same mother and have a different father. I just always felt like no matter what, I was on the outside, and that drove me nuts when I was younger. I think this feeling caused me to have a very terrible relationship with my brother when we were younger. And our relationship kind of suffers now, I think, because of all that. Although we get along perfectly fine, I feel like there's still part of that lingering, even though we are as old as what we are now. And I hope that that completely patches over. I feel like I have a great relationship with my sister because we're a lot alike. Regardless of whether she wants to admit it or not, we're a lot alike. And I love both of them very much. But I have a better relationship with my sister than what I do my brother. And I feel like that's because of how I felt back when we were younger. I felt like I was always on the outside, and because my brother was such a brat, I guess I took it out on him. Which is wrong. I should have never done that. And I feel like also that because I had a better relationship with my grandfather than what my mother did, which was her own dad, that I don't want to say she was jealous, but I feel like she kind of held that against me. And it wasn't my fault, but I held a lot of things against her too. And sometimes I feel like she feels like I'm always out to get her, which I'm not. But our relationship was really bad at some points to where I really could not stand to be around her. She would say or do stupid shit that I just completely disagreed with, and of course I would say or do something more stupid in return, And then she would top that, and then I would have to top that, and it was like a competition. Who could hurt who the most? And it's fucking stupid. It's dumb. And still to this day, it kind of crops up a little bit to where she'll say something is to intentionally offend me. So what do? Because I'm so hurt? I do it in return. But I have to be worse than whatever she said. I have to say something worse. Normally she'll come back with something worse than what I said. And I gotta top that. That makes no goddamn sense at all. We still do it. Here and there. It's farther between now than what it ever was. I'm very happy for her right now with where she is. She's very happy. And I'm very happy for her. And I feel like we now have a lot better relationship than what we ever have right now than what we ever have. And just like with my dad, I never really lived with my mom until I turned 20 years old when I moved back up to Ohio to go to college. And although our relationship wasn't the best, I felt like my mom knew what to do, because at that point in time, I had been raised through the difficult parts of my life, and even though she was being my parent, she also understood that she had to be my friend as well. Split it, you know, she has to be a parent, but she also has to be my friend. And I think she accomplished that, although we still have our lingering problems that we do. I think part of the problem may have been that because she was so young when I was born, we're not that far apart. She's only 16 years older than me. It sounds like a decent length, but at the same time, it's really not. And I think as she was growing up, she was incredibly immature. And of course, because I was growing up, I was incredibly immature. And now we're both a lot more mature. And that's why things are different now than what they were. Although there still are problems that I wish didn't exist. There's this one time, I can't remember exactly what she said, but something along the lines of her calling me a piece of shit. And I retorted to her with exactly how I felt. And that was sometimes I felt like I wish she wasn't my mom. And I honestly sometimes did feel that way, because we just... Our relationship shouldn't have been as poor as what it was. And sometimes I did feel like it would have been easier if she wasn't. It's retarded. It's so stupid. I can't even begin to reason that out, to make sense of any of that. I don't know why that takes place. I don't know why any of that's happened. It's not the worst relationship. People I know, I know people personally that have really bad relationships with either one of their parents, and one of my friends had the worst relationship I've ever seen with their mother, and mine's nothing compared to that, how bad that person's relationship with her mother was, or is. So sometimes I feel like, who am I to complain? People have it worse. But I'll talk about that in a different video entirely. Because I'm 25, and because of where my relationship with my mother has been in the first 25 years of my life, just like my goal with my father, I want to have a better relationship with my mother over the next 25 years. I'm not saying our relationship's terrible right now. I just want to have a better relationship with her. I feel like a complete asshole right now. I know the blame is not just mine. but yet, like, now I feel really terrible. It sucks. The thought goes through my mind of not even posting this because of how I feel right now. But then I tell myself, this is what this whole series is to be about. You open up, you tell your story, and maybe someone has a story similar, or a story worse than yours, because yours isn't the worst story. And maybe you opening up, maybe you being honest, maybe you letting people see this side of you, it'll help that person. It'll help someone. And if I can help one person with this series, then it's all worth it. I hope you share this video with someone that may be going through something with their mother, or either one of their parents for that matter, or anything similar to this. And I hope it can help them. If you'd like to continue the conversation in comments, I am more than willing to do so. So leave a comment. And that's it. That's all I have for this. 3 things left to do as always. Comment, thumbs up, and subscribe. Later, guys.